on, vinyl community? Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing my 50% off vinyl haul. If you follow me on social media, you may have seen that the record store that I manage, called the Rock Shop, as well as the two other locations in Pennsylvania, did a week-long vinyl sale where a large selection of records were slashed down 50% off, and that is a sale that you do not see often with the store that I manage, as well as I think most record stores in general. But the main reason behind it is because Record Store Day is on the horizon. It's roughly about a month away, and we have to make way for all of the product that's going to be coming in for Record Store Day. And while doing so, we're also looking at our massive stock room when there is a bunch of other stuff, just kind of sitting. And it was kind of a case where, you look at it and you wonder what stuff would fly off, tables and bins if it was marked down in price and we can clear out some space. And needless to say, it was very successful, brought a lot of people out, especially on the weekend. And the great thing for myself is that I was able to go through what was on sale and purchase some things for myself. And I very well could have included this in the next monthly haul video, but let's just say that was not happening. So I decided to do a whole dedicated video to what I got. I'm not going to pull out and showcase every single thing, but I'll kind of just give you a general consensus on why I picked, certain things up and whatnot. But 50% off sales are great because it enabled me to get my hands on some stuff that I was generally seeking out for a very low price, check out some things that piqued my interest, or simply do some blind buys for half off. And, I think, going as low of a price in that sense is kind of a safety net if you want to dig into some newer stuff. And that's exactly what I did with some of the records that I'm going to showcase in this video. So enough of the chit-chat, let's jump into what this video is all about. Starting off with some CCR-ish territory, we have John Fogerty's Centerfield. This was his first solo album of the 1980s when he re-emerged in the music business. Rock and Roll Girls is on here, Old Man Down the Road. What else is on here? Of course, the title track, Vans Can't Dance, and Mr. Greed. Large backstory behind John and Saul's Dance of Fantasy Records, all the lawsuits that were going back and forth, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I think this is the first proper John Fogerty solo album that I own in my collection, because I only have the Blue Ridge Rangers release from Record Store Day recently, and now I have this, so I'm very happy to have this in the collection. And what I love about this reissue is that it does replicate the baseball field gatefold cover, which is absolutely awesome, so very happy to have this. And keeping it in the Fogerty territory, we then have Fogerty's Factory. Now, this is an album that John did with his family, mainly consisting of a lot of Creedence songs on here, as well as some covers. And this was all basically recorded during quarantine from 2020. And they also did a video series on YouTube where they performed the songs, on video. Overall, very enjoyable. And this is something that, when I saw it in person, I was like, what, that looks rather interesting. So figured I would check it out for myself. Good stuff here. And then we shift gears a little bit with Def Leppard On Through the Night. I am slowly building my Def Leppard collection, and I want to dig into the early stuff, basically pre-Hysteria. Nothing wrong with Hysteria onwards, but, they had a bit more grit to them with some of those early records, such as High and Dry and Pyromania. And this is the first one where it all began. Rock Brigade is on here, Rocks Off, Hello America, When the Walls Come Tumbling Down. This is a recent reissue, and I'll just take it out to showcase in this case. It does come pressed on blue vinyl with that cool kind of Galaxy-ish Vertigo label. So very happy to have the first Def Leppard album finally in my collection. And now here is a band that I kind of started digging into fairly recently. It is a band called Electric Wizard, very much in the sort of, stoner doom metal type of vein, very heavily influenced by Sabbath, lots of occult imagery with their lyrics and such. And it's a band that I've really been enjoying listening to, and this album is called Time to Die. This is a double LP, and for the case of showcasing everything, comes pressed on green vinyl. So between getting one of their albums from my coworker John, and then going to Sky Valley, and then this sale, my Electric Wizard collection is growing rapidly. So got my hands on this. And now we go a bit folky with Donovan's greatest hits. I have been warming up to Donovan's music fairly recently. I have Where Your Love Like Heaven and Hurdy-Gurdy Man already, and I absolutely love those records. Really love, you know, the psychedelic folk stuff that Donovan did in the 60s. And of course on here, Sunshine Superman's on here, Hurdy-Gurdy Man, Mellow Yellow, Season of the Witch, Where Your Love Like Heaven, all good stuff. Can't go wrong with the greatest hits. And keeping it somewhat in the same vein, this album is very much deemed essential to have in any record collection, and it's always been a mission of mine to get my hands on a copy just whenever I got around to it, and the timing was now. This is Cat Stevens, T for the Tillerman. What's on this record? Father and Son is the big one. Wild World as well, so I knew the hits right off the bat, but now I properly have the album in my collection, and I'm very excited to dig into this myself. And then here is an artist that I've actually been really digging deep into as of lately. And it's kind of crazy that I approached this artist a bit later in my time just, you know, digesting music and whatnot. We have Brian Eno, Music for Films. This is one of his ambient records. Like I said, it's crazy how I have never approached Eno's solo stuff, given that he's worked with Robert Fripp, David Bowie, Peter Gabriel. He's worked with, you know, all these people that I love, and I've never checked out the man's own music. So I got this 2 LP, 45 RPM, half-speed master cut done at Abbey Road of, this is one of his ambient albums, and I absolutely love the ambient stuff that he was doing with Bowie around the time of his Berlin period. So I am very excited to sink my teeth into this album. Next up is a relatively modern band. This is First Aid Kit. The album is called Ruins. The main thing that attracted me to this band is that they did a Blue Series 7-inch on Third Man Records, which is Jack White's record label. And when it comes down to any artist that works with Jack or is part of the Third Man, you know, catalog or the roster, I simply try to dig into their work just kind of by association. I'm very much like that when it comes to a lot of like certain record labels where I just try to observe everything. And these guys are definitely it, so excited to sink my teeth into some First Aid Kit. Then here is one of those classic rock live albums from the 1970s. An artist that I don't really have too many records of. I'm kind of approaching his stuff slowly. If anything, the early stuff is perhaps of interest to me. And that is Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Live Bullet. This was recorded at Cobo Hall in, when was this? 1975. So just thinking at the time, you know, Kiss Alive had basically just was recorded before this. So just, you know, the culture around the Detroit rock scene at the time, I'm sure, was absolutely bubbling. And definitely have always wanted to check out this album. And of course, Upper City Limits is on this one. Traveling Man, of course, Turn the Page is the big highlight on this live record. And it is all good stuff. This is a recent reissue that was done. I believe this is the indie variants. I have to double check. But it does come pressed on sort of red and orange swirl colored vinyl with that orange mid-70s Capitol label, which is very fitting of the time period of when this album came out. Then we shift gears once again into some more, I can't say modern anymore, because these records came out in the 2000s. It's weird how my brain kind of thinks this stuff through. This is a band that I don't have any records of, and it's one that one of my coworkers, Joe, has played in store. But of course, I've always heard this band in passing, and I've heard a couple of songs here and there, and just by like association of stuff. The band that I'm talking about is Franz Ferdinand. So we have their first album here, and then we have their second album as well. This one is called You Could Have Made It So Much Better. These guys came out around the mid-2000s from England, right around the same time as bands like the Kaiser Chiefs and like the Strokes were in the US. And these guys also did a collaboration project with Sparks. So And that's another band that I've been digging into as well. But unfortunately, there are no Sparks records here in this haul. But really excited to dig into the first 2 Franz Ferdinand records. And also, just to kind of touch more on how I know these guys, Take Me Out was on Guitar Hero 1, I think, back in 2005. So I always have a fondness for that song, and it is a great tune. And now I can finally dig into these guys and their work. Going backwards, once again, I'm telling you, it shifts completely, album by album. Emma from 8 Vinyl Low, if you're watching this video, you will be very proud of me when I showcase this record. This is Jacqueline. This is a sort of British blues album that came out back in 1969. This first got reissued for, I want to say it was Record Store Day, and then this is a recent reissue that came out a couple of months back, just like a separate, black vinyl press. And this is an album that Emma has mentioned a couple of times, and it's very much a case where, in the case of everyone in the youngest members of the VC group, anytime that they go on about certain artists or albums, I make a note in the back of my mind to really check it out, because their music tastes are absolutely awesome. And Emma, if you're watching this, be proud of me. I finally got it in the collection. Here's Jacqueline. Now here is one that I am actually very excited for, and I will say that when I saw the lineup on this record, just down to the front cover, I was like, I am sold entirely. This is Lord Sutch and Heavy Friends. So of course you have Screamin' Lord Sutch, of course best known for Jack the Ripper and whatnot, but we have his Heavy Friends, and on here we have Jimmy Page and John Bonham of Led Zeppelin, Jeff Beck, of course, who was in the Yardbirds, Noel Redding from the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and Nicky Hopkins, who had done piano work with, I want to say, the Stones. And this album, very much debated. There's a lot of, I don't want to say controversy behind it in terms of, what the members involved saw this record as. But nonetheless, like I said, I just saw the lineup and I was like, yeah, I definitely need to check that out for myself. And also the cover is absolutely cool. Look at those wheels. Absolutely awesome. Can't wait to dig into this. And now here is something Black Sabbath related. Granted, I don't know much about this particular band. I kind of did like a brief listen just to see if I would want it for my collection, and I did enjoy it. The band is called Brownout, and it's called Brown Sabbath, and you can only imagine that it's basically their own renditions of Black Sabbath songs. So you have things such as Supernaut, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Sweet Leaf, Electric Funeral, Children of the Grave, Symptom of the Universe. I mean, honestly, this album features a lot of my favorite Sabbath tunes, and they do a very interesting twist on it. It's not exactly faithful to the original arrangement. Brownout does their own little twist in terms of what their style is, and I'm just now noticing that it says Volume 2 on the cover, so now I have to seek out Volume 1. So very happy to have this cool Sabbath-related record in my collection. Now here is one that I just saw the cover, and I knew that I had to get my hands on it. And this is Rainbow Folly, and the album is called Sally's Fourth. Basically, this band did one album back in, when was this, 1968, and that was it. And with an album cover like that, you can suspect that it is great. This came out for Record Store Day in 2015. It is the mono press, and as you can tell, they did the flip back cover. No, it is not a scan like the Pink Floyd reissues. This is a genuine fold over. I think this came out at the same time as the Tomorrow record, which featured a pre-Yes Steve Howe in the band. I think this came out at the same time. But wait till you see this. This comes pressed on beautiful colored splatter vinyl. So it's overall like yellow vinyl, but then you got like red, blue, and green splatter. It is absolutely stunning, and of course features a very nice Parlophone label as well. Always a good thing to see. And then we go into some classic rock territory with Bad Company, Rock and Roll Fantasy, The Very Best of Bad Company. This is a compilation that came out around 2015. Rhino just did this reissue. I want to say it was this year for Start Your Ear Off Right. They pressed it on silver vinyl. I'll take it out and showcase it. I really dig Bad Company. I have their first album in my collection. It is phenomenal. Very much a supergroup of sorts. Led Zeppelin proteges, more or less, since they were on the Swan Song label. Paul Rodgers, great bluesy voice. Mick Ralph, Simon Kirke, Boz Burrell, who was in King Crimson for a brief period. All good stuff on here. Contains all the hits. Nice gatefold cover. Cool band photo. And just to showcase the colored vinyl, for the sake of showcasing everything. Actually, I was wrong. It is not silver vinyl. It is translucent, clear colored vinyl. And that is definitely one of the more clearer pieces of colored vinyl that I have seen thus far. So, very happy to have this compilation. And I still got to get some of the other Bad Company albums that are out there. Definitely need to beef up the collection. Now, the next couple of records, I mainly bought, just like I said when it came to Third Man, you know, I try to dig into artists on the roster. These records are on the Riding Easy Records label, or previously known as Easy Rider Records. They have to change it because Easy Rider, the film name and everything. That is home to some of my favorite modern hard rock metal bands, such as Blackwater Holy Light, Electric Citizen. They also do the Brown Acid series that brings together all of the underground hard rock, psych rock stuff from the 60s and 70s. They put out those great compilations. So when I saw that they were on the label, I was like, okay, it's definitely got to be up my alley, since they specialize in that hard rock, early proto-metal, doom metal, stoner, whatever you want to call it. There's so many subgenres I could branch out with that. So we have the picture books, Imaginary Horse. This one is Shooting Guns, Brotherhood of the Ram. And then Old Man's Will. So, very excited to sink my teeth into these records. Now, here is an album that I recently got turned on to by my good friend / coworker Patrick. He actually played this exact pressing of this album in the store, and I really liked what I heard. And then, sure enough, that same pressing was part of the sale, and I was just like, perfect. And that is Power of Zeus, The Gospel According to Zeus. Kind of like a funk rock type of record. Absolutely killer stuff. I need to really dive into this album again. I mean, I liked it upon first listen, but I really got to digest it entirely. So, very happy to have this in the collection. And now we come to the end of the haul. This is the last record. This is more or less just something to kind of fill in the gap, so to speak, in my Stooges collection. And that is Iggy and the Stooges, Ready to Die. This came out back in 2013. Absolutely love Iggy and the Stooges. And I've kind of been on a kick of theirs lately, just digging into albums like Raw Power and revisiting Funhouse and whatnot. So I figured I would get my hands on this. And that right there is my 50% off vinyl haul. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support this channel, be sure to check me out on Patreon. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.